Did you forget something, Mr. McCarthy?
It seems someone or something has sabotaged my car, miss. So I will be staying the night.
Oh, how terrible. Luckily, one of the rooms is available. Here's the key. It's up the stairs and last door on the right.
Thank you.
Oh, and Mr. McCarthy? Be careful.
Careful?
I hear things at night. In the walls.
What kinds of things?
Scratching.
Well, I always have my revolver, miss. I'm sure I'll be okay. I've had it for 6 years. I've fired it once. Thank you for your help. A coward in a baggy coat. Some extra virgin olive oil. I take the largest of the blades. It's sharp and the harsh contrast of the reflection hurts my eyes. I don't like what I see. The bar was a simple affair. An acrid smell of stale cigarette smoke and spilled champagne from years long since past hung over my head like a cloud. A young woman stood at the bar, drink in hand. She watched me intently as a predator watches its prey. This was Victoria. It's a rather nice oil painting. Van Gogh, I think. Almost certainly a copy.
Well, good evening. Fresh blood is always welcome.
Victoria, I presume.
Victoria Renton.
Rick McCarthy.
Ah, we have someone famous among us.
Infamous, perhaps.
Well, I always preferred infamy. Better the devil, you know.
Do you mind if I ask you some questions?
Please do.
What's your opinion of Sarah?
She seems nice enough. We haven't spoken a great deal, though. I get the impression she's intimidated by me.
She cracked a wicked grin.
Shy girls are always more fun. Wouldn't you agree?
What's your opinion of Michael?
I think he's terribly afraid of something. He seems to be terribly on edge most of the time. Especially if there are a lot of guests in the house.
Any idea why that might be?
He's not particularly forthcoming with regards to his personal life. He spends the majority of his time by the fire, lamenting the slow loss of his family.
Mr. Grosvenor mentioned that you may have seen wolves on the estate.
If that's what he wishes to call them.
You disagree?
Well, it was dark, but the way they moved was...
Her eyes moved ever so slightly to the floor.
frightening.
His family?
The Grosvenor family is something of a tragedy, Mr. McCarthy. The vast majority of them died before the age of 35. Some died before adulthood. Michael is the last alive, and the youngest of his generation. He even outlived his niece, and I don't think he's ever recovered from that.
What are you doing here?
I'm just passing through, really.
Mr. Grosvenor said you were a permanent resident.
Permanent is a little strong. I lingered here because I like the scenery, and this house is simply fascinating.
That's all I wanted to know.
Any time. Can I perhaps interest you in a nightcap back at my room?
She looked me straight in the eye, waiting to read my reaction. Thank you for the offer, miss, but I think I'll decline.
Carpe noctem, Mr. McCarthy,
Seize the night.
for we may not see another.
Her words chilled me to the bone. Another night, perhaps.
Well, if you change your mind, you know where to find me.
It's locked. That doesn't seem to work. That doesn't seem to work. If I just keep the keys with me, I'll be able to open the doors they fit. That doesn't seem to. That doesn't seem to work. That doesn't seem to work. That doesn't seem... I would guess that leads to the west wing of the house. That's my room. My room was a simple affair, and yet I couldn't help but feel that death ran down the walls like ever-encroaching floodwater. It's a rather nice oil paint, almost. It overlooks the gardens at the back of the house. Empty. I'll try and get some sleep. I found it difficult to sleep. My mind swam with questions. Who slashed my tires, and why do they want to keep me here? As I began to drift off to sleep, I was jerked back to reality by the sound of screaming. I jumped to my feet and grabbed my revolver. It's locked. Sarah!
Help!
It's locked. I'll break it down. A large dog-like creature stood on the bed, its blood-red eyes trained on Sarah. Its teeth were longer than a dog's and stained a rich crimson.
Do something!
I drew my gun and aimed for its head. My finger hovered tentatively over the trigger. What if I hit someone again? My arm shook as I tightened my grip on the trigger. I couldn't do it. The beast turned its attention to me. It looked me deep in the eyes. It was intelligent, and its gaze was full of malice and hatred. And then... it was gone. I loosened my grip and my gun fell to the floor, thudding lightly against the azure carpet.
What was it?
I'm not sure. How did it get in?
I don't know. I came back to my room, locked the door behind me, and it was there. Must have been in my room all along.
She dropped her gaze to the floor.
Thank you.
I'm not sure why she thanked me. Why couldn't I shoot it? You can't sleep in here tonight.
It's okay. I'll sleep in Victoria's room. I'm sure she won't mind.
I'll speak with Michael in the morning. I I need to find this thing, though it may be the death of me. I woke late. The winter sun had already begun to sink behind the horizon, leaving me with only darkness and despair.